Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today in this webinar, our Haivision Technology Update. We will be telling you all about why great broadcasts start with Haivision. So I would like to begin by welcoming Mark and Ghislain. We'll get more into hearing from them in a moment. But let's jump right in and talk about some logistics before we get going. So first of all, we will be taking questions, and we ask that people use the Q&A tool as part of Zoom toolbar. So use that to answer your questions. And we have two people in the background, David Kay and Selwyn Jans, who you guys may know if you are a customer or have met with Haivision in the past. So they will be answering questions on the fly. And if there's some time at the end, we might answer some live as well. Note that we will be putting links in the chat for you. You'll see little notes on the slides. It says chat link where there is associated content, and we will be doing a little bit of polling and quizzes. So just keep that in mind. So I, of course, am your host today, Marcus Scholler. I'm the VP of Marketing from Haivision, and I'm joined today by Mark Orchler, the Director of Product Marketing, and Ghislain Collette, the VP of Product Management. So welcome, guys. Thank you both for being here. We'll hear from you in a moment. Let's just keep going. To begin with our agenda for today, so we're going to start with a little bit of fun. The summer of 2024, a big summer for sporting events, and we want to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to break a cardinal rule about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We are actually going to tell you what happened in Vegas about Haivision, NAB recap. Then we'll talk a little bit about the broadcast transformation report. We'll get into what's new with the Makito X4s. We have a special section on StreamHub and the things that you can do with StreamHub, and we'll tell you about Haivision Hub 360. So with that, we're going to start on the topic of the summer of sports. And I mentioned that we are going to be doing some quizzes. And so I just want to make sure everybody gets how it works and is paying attention. So we're going to start with a pretty simple question. It's just there's no right answer for this one. But let's get everybody. Let me just start this here. If everybody would just take a second to have a look at these answers. We've chosen a selection of very important, large sporting events that are happening or will be happening around the world this summer. And we are curious to see which ones everybody's most excited about. So we'll just give you all a moment to answer quickly. And I see the answers are coming in fast and furious. And does everybody else, Mark and Ghislain, you see what people are answering? We see that on the fly coming in. It's not, I don't know if I'd call it surprising or not. I think it's probably not going to come as a huge surprise to everybody, but I think we can end this poll, let people see what happened, and let's just share the results. So I guess the Olympics are a big event and everybody's very excited about that coming up in Paris this summer. So that's great. Thank you all for taking a moment to answer that question. Personally, I'm also very excited about the Olympics and the Euro, which is happening now. Lots of great things going on. So let's move on and let's explain part of why we're doing this, because we do want to have a little fun. Conveniently, Olympics came up and we have some gold medals that we will be awarding today, some very, very prestigious commemorative Haivision medals to win in the trivia questions. And so we're going to get right back into it. We're going to go do one more to make sure people are ready to win some medals here. And we're going to do one more quick quiz. So this is the question, and we will explain that for everybody that answers this one correctly, your name will be put into a hat and we will pick a winner at random. So let's start. What do these countries have in common? That is the question. And let me get the poll up there so you can see France, Germany, Spain, Canada, and United States. But here we go. Let us get the poll question up for everybody. On a second here. I have a technical problem on this one. Let's see. There's, for some reason, this has been launched already. While we take a second, could I get a little help on this quiz question in the background to see what is making it so that I can't launch this right now? Okay, we're going to come back to this one. some reason I can't launch this poll. So I'm going to come back to this one, and we will figure it out in a minute. Okay, so let's just keep going. We're going to start by talking about NAB. Now, NAB this year, we had the Haivision team. You can see at our booth, a number of people were there. Hopefully, many of you came by to visit with us, but I'm sure a lot of people are here to find out more about what our story was at NAB. So just to begin with, hang on one second. I'm getting a note here. Sorry about this, everybody. A little technical. Okay, sorry. Okay, I can. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Let's do this quiz. It does seem to be working now. Okay, so sorry about that. Let's go ahead. What do these countries have in common? So you can see now, hopefully everybody sees and can answer. And we'll give you a second to get your answers in here. So this is, of course, a location of major summer sporting events. We did talk about some of these previously. We mentioned that it's perhaps the location of Haivision offices. That would be an interesting coincidence. Could be great places for vacation. I would certainly like to go on vacation to all of these places. And then we have the last one, all of the above. And we'll just let people take one more moment to answer the poll. And the answers are coming in fast and furious. We're getting a lot of responses. Give it another second or two. We see a few more responses coming in. I want everybody to have a chance to enter to win one of the commemorative Haivision gold medals. And I think we've got all of them. So let me end the poll. Of course, the right answer was all of the above. So for all of you who answered all of the above, congratulations. Your names will be going in the drawing to win one of these awesome gold medals. And now let's get back onto the program. So sorry for that little technical glitch. So like I said, we were at the show and we were talking about a number of different topics. And I want to just call out some of those so that everybody understands what happened in Vegas and knows what they missed. The first one that I think is, a big deal for us and something that we're very proud of is the fact that this year is Haivision's 20th anniversary. It happened, the official anniversary was just after NAB. So we were there to celebrate the 20 years of Haivision, our many innovations, pioneering moments, great activities that have happened over a year. And of course, our success wouldn't have been possible without the amazing work that all of our customers do. So we would like to thank you very much. And NAB very much was about celebrating together. So that was one important thing that was happening at the show. Of course, along with those 20 years, we've had many great moments in terms of awards. And SRT, as the original inventor of SRT, we wanted to talk about that as part of our 20-year history and those Emmy awards that came with it, including one for SRT and a number of others for SST technology, Haivision Media Platform. So that was an important part of the show for us. We're always very proud of these awards when we get the opportunity to win them. Okay, now, of course, we really had a story that we were there to tell, and the story was about how Haivision is a world leader in live video contribution. And this is a story that is critical in our broadcast workflows. It's why Haivision, great broadcasts start with us. And the way that we've been explaining it is through our contribution to distribution to management broadcast ecosystem diagram. So this is a new way for us to explain our portfolio of products for broadcast, and we wanted to share this with everybody and help people understand that from a contribution standpoint, we have transmitters, we have encoders, we have mobile devices. From the distribution side of things, we have receivers, gateways, decoders, and we even which allow the transportation of live video across different networks, including SST and SRT. Those were the award-winning protocols that we looked at a moment ago. And now we also have a mechanism through which we can manage all of this from a master control standpoint in the cloud. And just for everybody to understand, specifically, we deal from source to production. And if you aren't sure what all of the various products are, here's a quick overview. Screenshot this slide. It gives you the basics. The Pro and the Air are our mobile transmitters, bonded cellular. The Makito X4, low latency video encoders. Mojo Pro is a camera app. You'll be hearing a lot more about that. The Makito X4 decoder is the natural pair to the Makito X4 encoder. StreamHub is a very important component, and we'll be talking a lot more about that in today's webinar for receiving streams from all of our devices. SRT Gateway. Many of you probably use that in your distribution workflows, and Haivision Hub 360 to manage all of these products in the cloud. So other things that were going on at NAB, of course, cloud was a big theme at the show, and our workflows with a number of our partners who provide live cloud production tools, including Gravio, where we had a very nice workflow between our booth and theirs, and they were showing this live at their booth, where how the Makito and the transmitters can be used to contribute live video into their live cloud production platforms. We were also working with Grass Valley, Sony, Amagi, and even Ross. And I think with Ross in particular, there was a very cool story that was part of the bigger NAB initiative this year, where we were working with not just with Ross, but with AWS, where they were their tools were being used to power the live NAB broadcast throughout the entire show. So throughout the show, there were interviews and sessions and things that were being broadcast for remote attendees. This was being done by AWS. On their booth, they had a production station set up. There was an anchor desk in the main lobby. So here you can see, this was, for instance, when I was being interviewed by Ryan Salazar from Broadcast Beat with the AWS NAB Live News. Here was Mark Horchler sitting at the anchor desk for a moment. And really what was happening throughout this show for everybody who wasn't able to be there was that there was the anchor desk, there were these interviews, there was the Makito X4 being used to contribute live camera feeds up into the cloud, and it was which was being hosted in AWS, of course, and it was the Ross Production Cloud that was being used to manage the production. In addition, there were teams that were located remotely in Fort Lauderdale who were doing graphics and editing. So this was a big part of the show, and the Makitos played a very important part in making that happen. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. Okay, so next topic, broadcast transformation report. This is something that Haivision has been doing for 5 years, and this year we were very pleased. It was our largest ever. Many of you, I'm sure, responded. Over 800 respondents in all gave us data about what was going on in the broadcast industry. And these were the key takeaways. We just wanted to call them out here. For a number of years now, we've seen that SRT has been playing an important role in the industry, and it's been coming up in this report. And again, this year it was no different. According to this report, it was the most widely adopted transport protocol. Obviously, many of our customers are answering, so it's not super surprising, but it's also very interesting as we see the internet growing, has become one of the primary means for transport. And SRT, of course, is designed specifically to ensure secure, reliable transport over any network, including the internet. Some new information in our report this year was about the importance of cellular transport and how it has become mainstream across broadcast workflows. And then more specifically on the topic of cellular was the impact that 5G is having. And we were seeing 74% of broadcasters are either already using or planning on using 5G for their projects coming up. So that was a big number, and that was new for us this year. With cloud, we've seen this trend continue where there's a lot of cloud usage going on, but it's only a small part of workflows, and that continued to be true this year. And for the first time, we added a question to the broadcast transformation report about the impact of AI, and immediately the question was related to which technology would have the biggest impact on broadcast. And immediately this year, in its first year, AI jumped to the #1 spot, where 60% of respondents believe that AI will have the biggest impact on broadcast productions in the next 5 years, many already using it. So with that, we're ready for our next quiz question, next opportunity to win one of these amazing Haivision gold medals. So the question here was about which of these themes was represented in an article in Variety magazine, which we were, of course, very excited about. Let me just bring up that poll. So if you guys would take a moment, this is one of those ones where you have a chance to win a medal. So get your answers in. We'll reveal the answer in a moment, but you can see the different options from SRT to cellular to 5G to cloud to AI. We see the answers are coming in. We'll give everybody another moment to get their answers in. We want to give you a chance to win that award. Still having some answers come in. Play-by-play in the background, you guys see what's happening. Any surprises? I think people are kind of going towards two main answers. Interesting to see. Okay, I think we have reached pretty much the top there. So let's end this poll and share the results. So you can see that the most popular answer was AI, and actually it was just edged out SRT. That was, of course, the correct answer was AI and the impact AI technology was going to have on broadcast. So those answers are going to a pot to win one of these awesome Haivision gold medals. Okay, let's move on. So we're going to talk about what's new for the Makito X4. And before we get into the new stuff, there's one more question that we want to get out there, because we're going to talk about what's new in the X4 encoder, and we're going to talk about what's new in the X4 decoder. Something that's not new, but maybe new for a number of you is the change to the Makito X4 encoder user interface, which happened last August. And we told people about it last year, but we wanted to see if people have actually been installing it. And I know not everybody on the call is a Makito customer, but nevertheless, if you wouldn't mind taking a second to just tell us if you have installed the latest version of the Makito. And okay, I don't want to like dampen the spirits. This isn't one of those ones where you win an award or anything like that, but we do appreciate if you take the time to let us know. So we'll just give everybody a moment to answer here. We're seeing that there are a number of people who haven't upgraded yet. So I think this is, it's really interesting, and we're glad that you're here today to find out about this, because we do want to make sure that you're aware. And what we've seen from feedback is that people really love the new user interface, and it's a great opportunity for you to see it a little bit and consider making that upgrade. Okay, I think we've got the answer to that. I'm just going to skip over and we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to hand it to you, Mark. So let's jump right in, Mark. I'm going to introduce Mark and Ghislain now, and they're going to take over for the next little while. So thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Marcus. So so one of the things that we did show at NAB this year was our upcoming software update for the Makito X4 video encoder 1.8. And there's a few really cool features that we've added to this release. So PCM audio pass-through. This allows you to include lossless audio tracks along with your video. We've also added support for surround sound workflows, so you can group audio tracks for 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound workflows, especially useful when you're broadcasting from live concerts or sporting events where you really want to make it a more immersive experience with the audio. Another very interesting feature that we'll be introducing with this release is scene detection. So how this works is that the Makito X4 encoder will detect when there's a sudden change in scene, and it will then start a new GOP. So it'll insert an iframe and start a new GOP. So this is a way to prevent those trailing pixelation artifacts that you can get, especially when you have long GOPs. So that's a really good feature that will further improve the picture quality of the Makito X4. And another thing that we showed at NAB was our support for NMOS. So the Makito X4 with this upcoming release will also be able to support NMOS for discovery and control. And so what we did at NAB, and I'm hoping, Ghislain, you can explain to us how the setup went. Can you take us through this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Makito X4 encoder has been supporting ST2110 for a while. So within the 1.8 version that we were demoing at NAB, we had also, in addition of a full-fledged 2110 infrastructure, we're also showing an NMOS infrastructure on top. So this is kind of a little bit of a preview of what we had at NAB. So we were using like Haivision StreamHub, which we're going to talk about in a few slides, which was outputting 2110. Which also supports NMOS. So we had the NMOS registry and NMOS controller. We had the Mellanox switch for 2110 infrastructure, and we were interfacing StreamHub and Makito X4 for all sorts of services or essences, right? Video, audio, metadata, everything was being multicast over the network. And using the third-party NMOS controller that we're demoing, you can actually establish a connectivity between the StreamHub output and the Makito input over 2110 using the NMOS infrastructure. So that was pretty cool. It's something that people have been waiting for. So we're happy to show this at NAB.
Great. So in addition to the Makito X4 encoder, we also showed the latest release of our Makito X4 decoder software. So that's the 1.6 software, which will be coming out very soon. One of the things that we've updated in the Makito X4 video decoder is the UI. So it's similar to the X4 encoder. And in addition, we've added this new dashboard. So Gislain, can you talk us through what we're seeing here?
Yeah, so with the update of the Decoder 1.6, which is just kind of around the corner, what we added to the 1.6, as you said, is the notion of a dashboard. So really, when you log in, to be able to see at a glance the health and what's going on, with your decoding. So the upper part is really your resource utilization, so CPU decoding capacity, memory usage, network performance. So you have that all the part. You've got also the serial numbers, firmware versions, and so on. We already had the thumbnails. For those of you already familiar perhaps with the X4 decoder, the thumbnails were there. What we added also is the displaying optionally the audio bar meter. Right. So depending on the number of tracks that you're receiving, whether it's coming from Haivision encoder or a third party, if there's audio tracks, you'll be able to see their level meter. It gives you confidence really about whether you're receiving something or it's a silence or there's really content. And also as part of the dashboard is we aggregated statistics. So we really have the stream statistics, the decoding performance statistics, and the output, the video and audio output statistics as well. So you've got like drafts or historical information over a certain period of time. And that gives you really at a glance, again, like the, what's going on. So you don't have to navigate, right? So it's not just a new UI, it's really a new UX to really facilitate, potentially troubleshooting or pinpointing, if there's something going on, or at least gives you confidence that everything is going well. So that's one of the big improvement that we did with the X4 decoder.
So just to remind everyone that the Makito X4 decoder, encoder, and the UIs for all of our products, actually, you can access it from any standard web browser. So you can actually see this remotely, and even if you're not in the same place as your decoder or encoder. Now, there's a bunch of other features that we introduced or we're about to introduce with the version 1.6 in addition to the UI improvements. Can you cover some of those for us?
Yeah, so we already covered the updated UI UX. So we're also adding SRT path redundancy. Okay, so you can leverage the two network interface, on the decoder to actually receive feeds from any SRT enabled device that supports path redundancy. So just as a reminder, the Makito X4 encoder supports it. The SRT Gateway supports it as well. And I know more and more, third parties also supporting it. So we're adding it to the decoder so it can receive, like the both mode of redundancy, like active. So it provides you really network redundancy level. Another cool thing actually that people have been asking for a while is the ability to do what we call PID selection. So within a MPEG transport stream, you got multiple PIDs for the different, type of content. So if you have a multi-program transport stream, so a bouquet of channel that is being sent to the decoder, you may want to be able to cherry pick exactly the program that you want to decode. So we're adding this capability within the decoder, but also the same functionality can be used to do audio remapping. So sometimes if you don't have control on the encoder, and the audio or that you're receiving with the decoder have a specific sequence, but you want to reorder them on the SDI output, you can actually reuse this functionality to do the remapping of the audio and put it right you want it to be on the SDI out. So speaking of audio, we're also adding, surround sound audio decoding. So Mark covered the surround sound encoding that we added within the encoder. whether it's MPEG compress or PCM, you can group that channel. So we can actually support the mirror functionality on the decoder. And then what you can also do in addition is either down mix. So if you don't have necessarily surround infrastructure down the chain after the decoder output, you may want to down mix to 2.0. But you can also like do a direct mapping. So if you're receiving 5.1, 7.1, you can actually output that surround experience over your AES SDI output on the decoder.
Okay, great. So thank you, Ghislain. So another key theme that we had this year at NAB was having a consistent user experience across all our products. And this includes one of our most popular products, which is Play Pro. It's unsurprisingly very popular because it's free. You can get it on the App Store or Google Play. In fact, there's a QR code there if you want to, or the link is also in the chat. If you want to download it, I would encourage you to. So this is a free mobile SRT player, which you can use to view your SRT streams, whether they're contribution feeds or their return feeds or any kind of SRT stream from your workflow. You can access them, view them, play them with Haivision Play Pro. So this is one of the things that we showed, and we'll get to this a bit later as part of our live demo in a few minutes. Something else that we showed at NAB was our Pro 460. On the right, you see a picture of the Pro 460 along with the Pro 360. So the big difference between the two is that the Pro 360 is a single channel HD, a mobile transmitter. The Pro 460 can support 4K HDR and Quad HD. So the Pro 460 is a really, really great product because for one, it's very easy to use. Not only does it have a web UI that you can access from your browser, but you can also access all the functions from the front panel. It's actually a touch panel. So it's very easy to use, and you can also remotely configure it using the browser. Broadcast quality video, of course, HEVC and H.264 up to 4K HDR. Another really cool feature that we introduced recently was ultra low latency mode. So this is a mode that's designed for operating over a private 5G network, and brings down the latency from camera from glass to glass, from camera to screen, down to 80 milliseconds. So very useful for live sports production, especially. In addition to that, we also showed off our new upcoming UI for the Pro 460. So it's very similar to what we've been doing with the Makito products. They have the video preview thumbnails, live statistics, live on your stream and on your mobile transmitter. So we're very excited about this, and this will be available shortly. So on the theme of user interface, we have another quick question for you, so the question is, which of these user interfaces was updated first? And if you enter the correct answer in the chat, you will be entered into the draw to win this lovely gold medal. So might be surprised. Some of you might be surprised to see one product you might not be familiar with, or those of you who are from the ISR community joining this webinar might be more familiar with it, and that's Kraken. So Kraken is a product that's used mostly for ISR and defense workflows. So that has also been updated, or is going to be updated soon with the new UI. There is the Makito X4 encoder, the Makito X4 decoder that we talked about, and the Pro 460. So I'll give you a little bit of time to figure out which is the first of these four products that was updated with the new UI. We see we have a few people thinking about it still.
Results are coming in.
Oh.
Worth reminding people, if you haven't answered, that this is one of those questions where you can win one of these awesome sakes.
All right.
Yeah, do you think it's a good time to end it?
I think it's a good time. Let's see what the people answered.
All right, let's share the results here.
So the Makito X4 encoder. So over half of you got the correct answer. So good. Maybe
I'm glad I got it right.
That was the correct answer. Okay, so on to something else. Another product that we highlighted at NAB this year was StreamHub. So StreamHub is an extremely versatile product that does many things. So let's quickly go over what it does. So it can be used to receive and decode streams, and these can be streams coming from our mobile transmitters like the Pro 460 we just talked about. It can also decode receive and decode SRT streams coming from our Makito X4 encoders. So it can be used for that. And it can also be used as an IP gateway for IP video distribution. It can convert from one protocol to another, from RTMP to SRT, different types of IP streaming protocols. It can also, depending on the version that you're using, you can also output to SDI, to ST2110, and NDI. So it's a very versatile video distribution platform. And also another cool thing it can do is you can use it to generate and manage intercom and video returns with your field unit. So you can use it to talk to your talent and camera operators in the field. And you can also use this multi-viewer monitor for confidence monitoring. The multi-viewer has a lot of powerful features. You can also generate a multi-viewer feed with it as well to send back to the field. And another thing you can do with StreamHub is actually it has a built-in transcoder. So this will actually allow you to transcode video from one codec to another, from one format to another, change frame rates, all that kind of thing. So very handy. And also, you can record videos. You can record live broadcasts and turn them into video clips that you can use for post-production later on. And another interesting thing that you can do with StreamHub is remote PTZ camera control. In fact, you can control all sorts of different devices using something called Data Bridge, which sets up an IP connection, a two-way IP connection with your remote units. And then you can attach a PTZ camera and control that remotely. So if you want to find out more about StreamHub, there is a link in the chat below. Let's first take a look at what else you can do with StreamHub. So here, if you look at the user interface is designed to be very easy to use and to be able to see everything in a single window. So here in the top left, you have your inputs. So again, these inputs can be bonded cellular inputs coming from one of our mobile transmitters. They can be SRT streams coming from one of our Makitos, or it can be another type of IP stream coming from a third-party device. And also we have our transcoders. So this is where you can transcode, you can convert between codecs and formats. This is very useful in the case you have a mix of, like, for example, if you're doing a 720p production and you have some 1080p content and a mix of different types of frame rates and resolutions, you can send it to the transcoder before assigning it to an output. And here in the outputs, we have different types of outputs. They can be IP outputs or SDI outputs. In this case, we have four IP outputs in the top, so we can assign the inputs to the different outputs. So very, very easy to use. So StreamHub is available in many different ways. We have turnkey solutions. This is a hardware-based. It's our software running on hardware that can include SDI outputs. It can also be used for ST2110 and NDI workflows. This is obviously for on-premise production facilities. And then we also have software VMs that you can deploy in your own hardware if you wish. And we have also bring your own license that you can use to deploy it on AWS, on Microsoft Azure, or Alibaba Cloud. And finally, we'll talk about this in a second. We also have a pay-as-you-go offering available through our new Haivision Hub 360 product. So there are a bunch of new features in the upcoming 4.4 release, including NMOS that we talked about already. Gisela, can you go over what this release involves?
Yeah, sure. And actually, just before I dive into this slide, so just wanted to highlight that the bring your own license that you talked about is really, really fresh. Okay, this is actually as of last week. It's now available on these three main cloud provider marketplaces.
Right.
So if you go onto AWS Marketplace, Azure Marketplace, and Alibaba Cloud Marketplace, you do a search for StreamHub, a search for Haivision, you'll find actually not only StreamHub but also like SRT Gateway, other products that we have available on those marketplaces. we added StreamHub recently, so that to make it even more accessible to people in different workflows. So again, like StreamHub 4.4 that just came out also very recently, just a few days ago. So we were showing this at NAB, and now it's commercially available. So it also supports the NMOS, literally the same implementation we've done on the X4 encoder has been transposed or is also made available into StreamHub for discovery control. So in technical terms, if you're familiar with the NMOS standards, we call it ISO 4 for registry discovery. ISO 5 for control. We also support ISO 9 for inheriting system information, essentially PTP domain, PTP information. So we support all of that both within the StreamHub 4.4 and the Makito. There's a number of features actually also that we talk about here in StreamHub, but they also have the equivalent within the transmitters. So we added cinematic frame rate, so 2398 and 24 frames per second. Why? Well, simply because we see a trend within the industry, especially with sports events, to where certain cameras would be more like broadcast camera and certain cameras would be more cinematic camera with a different lens, different sensor that have different, more like shallow depth of field. That gives really more emphasis on the subject. So you're going to see that, especially after a goal, for instance. So there's going to be more and more, and we see that for a while now, like there's a hybrid frame rate that is being used with different type of cameras. So we really wanted to make sure that, both the transmitters and StreamHub are really involved within that kind of level of production. So we would do that with 4K UHD. We do that for 1080p as well. So that's pretty cool. So if you transmit at such frame rate, then you can also receive at that frame rate and so on. We added also for a pretty cool feature that because we see more and more people using, for instance, Mojo Pro, which we're gonna talk about in a second as well, where it's a mobile app, but if you want to stream to social media platform. You've got this challenge sometimes with the aspect ratio where historically, cameras, especially in HD, would be like 16:9. So they would be in some sort of a landscape kind of orientation. But in social media, portrait, so 9:16 is actually also very popular. So what we can do is within StreamHub to actually publish to social media platform through HLS, RTMP, other protocol like YouTube is actually also on its way to support SRT as an ingest. You could actually output out of StreamHub after receiving some SST connection or potentially also other type of protocols. Output transcode and output into a 9:16 portrait orientation aspect ratio. Very, very cool. Pretty unique feature as well. We added the capability to make sure that we remain compliant and compatible with most of the latest and the greatest within the carrier business. IPv6 for cellular network connectivity. Again, this is functionality we added in transmitters. We added it also within StreamHub to make sure that not only you can support IPv4, but like any network that are putting it mandatory to support IPv6, the infrastructure can still be used.
Okay, great, Gisela. So to summarize, StreamHub, you can use it to receive video from our mobile transmitters. So in this case, a Pro 460, for example, an SST. You can also just send that video, output it to different types of on-prem workflows, SDI, NDI, SD2110. You can also distribute it to cloud-based workflows with SRT. You can also receive SRT streams from our Makito encoders. And you can also receive SST streams from the Mojo Pro app, which we will talk about a bit later in more detail. And finally, you can use our live guest to receive streams from a web browser. So we'll get into that in more detail later, and it'll be part of our demo. So StreamHub is StreamHub is really there's so many things you can do in it. And so let's have a quick look as to how we can use it, for example, with Mojo Pro. Here you see Mojo Pro input. This is coming from our Mojo Pro camera app. And so let's talk a little bit about Mojo Pro. So this is a camera app that it essentially turns your smartphone into a professional broadcast camera and a mobile transmitter. So in situations where you don't have a camera and a transmitter on hand, you can use the Mojo Pro app. It's available on iOS and Android. It has a lot of advanced camera settings. And what's really cool about this too is that they can be set remotely. So if you're sending a freelancer out in the field, you can tell them to download it for free, and then you can set that freelancer up with the correct settings for your broadcast workflow. It also has some professional features like video returns and intercom, so you can use that as well. And yeah, it's a really, really easy app to use that can be remotely controlled and used for broadcasting, sending great contribution content to your broadcast production. This is an example of what the user interface looks like. In addition to live broadcasting features, you can see here, you can also do edit clips. So you can, while you're broadcasting live, you can record files and then you can forward them on to post-production facilities. So it's a very, very, very useful app. So next we have, so at NAB, we actually demonstrated a Mojo Pro using borrowing the setup that France TV uses for covering local news. So Gislain, I see we also had a sign view there. And can you explain to us how this worked?
Yeah, actually, so like I even have one in my hand as we speak. So we have a partnership with ScienView where we developed jointly, the Mojo Pro remote control. So this is actually being more and more used for prime sporting events because of the quality of the camera, because of the quality also of the transmission out of a mobile. You could consider in certain situations using mobile device in locations perhaps where like the camera and transmitter would be a little bit more bulky. But the thing is, you still need, when you do your remote, like your control, you need to be able to do camera shading. Make sure that all the ISO is calibrated the same way across different phones. So this is one of the things that the ScienView RCP can actually do. So we have this integration where ScienView talks to StreamHub and has the ability to, using the user interface of the ScienView RCP, pick which camera, which mobile device you want to actually control. And you can calibrate the ISO. You can also adjust the bitrate. There's a number of things that you can also remotely control through a ScienView, but it is done through StreamHub, which then forwards the information all the way to the Mojo Pro. So the beauty of this is that the operator of the Mojo Pro app doesn't have to start, like using the user interface and adjust, and this can be done centrally within the control room using the same tools that people normally use for regular cameras.
Okay, great. So now if we go back to our StreamHub UI, we see here and we have a live guest input. So what is live guests exactly? So live guest is actually a feature of StreamHub, and it's essentially allows you to create and generate a link, an HTML link that you can send to someone who you want to join your live broadcast. This is really, really great when you want to include a subject matter expert in your live broadcast. It's a much more fluid solution than using one of those video conferencing tools. This is really designed for broadcast contribution specifically. There's nothing to install on your guest's laptop, and it can be used, by the way, on any device that has a web browser. So it could be a laptop, it could be an iPad or even a phone. Any device with a web browser and a camera will allow them to join your live broadcast. It also includes some features like echo cancellation, and because it's a broadcast contribution product, it also allows you to see video returns and receive intercom audio. So it's a really great way to invite your guests to your broadcast. So if we have a quick look as to see how we would set this up, here you see, for example, I go on to the input settings, click on that, and then you have your different input profiles. So in this case, we select the live guest input profile. We click on that, and then we enter the name of the broadcast, the name of the person we want to invite, their email. We can also set a time, we can set a day and the duration. We can also choose what type of resolution we want this to be the live guest to appear in. So we set this all up, and then once this is all set up, it will then generate a link. We can email that link directly, or we can copy it and send it in text or chat. So yes. So there's no installation needed. So we're going to now show you a live demo of this working. But before we do that, just quickly explain what we're doing here. So we have a live guest joining through a web browser on their phone. We've used StreamHub to generate that link. We've sent them the link, and then once they click on the link, it'll set up the WebRTC session between their phone and our StreamHub. And StreamHub, because we have it within our office here, we're sending an SRT stream to our SRT Gateway to get through our firewall. And then we're using Play Pro to access that stream live. So we're going to bring in a special guest to this webinar using live guests.
We're going to try this live, right? So
yeah,
the link out to somebody. I'm going to pull out, I've got Play Pro right here. Okay, so let's see. We've got, of course, we said we were sending it to Caroline, but in fact, Caroline forwarded her link to our colleague B2, who is standing by the Paris metro station. And he is coming in live directly into our StreamHub via an SRT gateway, which now I am watching on Play Pro, and you guys are seeing live. And there's B2. Those of you who know B2, nice to see him contributing to our webinar. He's always contributing to everything, but there you go. Well, thank you. That worked. Hey, that's great. So we actually were able to show people how easy it is to get invite somebody and participate in your regular broadcast using live guest and StreamHub. Thanks, Mark.
Great. So finally, the other product that we showcased at NAB was Haivision Hub 360. And in fact, we even won the TV Tech Best of Show Award, which you can see our colleague David Kay, who is on the chat answering your questions. Hello, David. He is very proudly displaying our award that we received at NAB. So Haivision Hub 360, what exactly is it? Well, Haivision Hub 360 is a cloud solution that we designed to bring more flexibility to your contribution workflows by enabling you to really, embrace the benefits of remote management. So it allows you to remotely manage your devices. And what's really unique about Hub 360 is that it allows you to leverage the power of hybrid contribution. By hybrid, we mean both over bonded cellular with SST and over the internet with SRT. So you can combine both fixed and mobile video encoders into your live production workflow. So that's very unique. And we'll explain that a little bit later in a second, but we also allows you to leverage both on-premise and cloud at the same time. So you can use Hub 360 for both on-prem and cloud production. But really it's, we know that broadcast equipment is a significant investment. And so Hub 360 is a useful tool to make sure that you're making the best use of all your broadcast field units and video encoders and decoders and receivers, making sure that they're being used to their full capacity and that they're being assigned to the right people. And so you can use Hub 360 to access all of your live contribution devices from one place. So just to give you a quick overview of how it works. So Haivision Hub 360 is a cloud native SaaS that we host. And we've designed it to make flexible and accessible from anywhere. So from any web browser, you can log in and access your Hub 360. And you can use it to pair to all of your mobile transmitters, no matter where they are. And you can pair to your Haivision StreamHubs that are on-premise. And then once you pair your transmitters and your Haivision StreamHub, you can then create and establish an SST route. So you can send SST video from one location to the other with Haivision Hub 360. Another thing you can do with Haivision Hub 360 is manage all your Makitos, no matter where they are. And you can also manage StreamHubs in the cloud. And you can establish and start and stop SRT streams directly between your Makito and your StreamHubs. That's just some examples of what you can do with it, but it's a very, very powerful tool for that. So here we see the appliance view. So the appliance view in Hub 360 allows you to see all of your appliances. And this includes mobile transmitters. This includes the Mojo Pro app. This includes Makitos. All of your Haivision live contribution appliances are accessible through the appliance manager, and you can also manage your receivers and decoders as well. So it gives you a real-time status of all your devices, allows you to organize them, allows you to update the firmware as well. So you can remotely update the firmware. There's a lot of useful things you can do with that. And next we see our master control view. So this is the master control view is like a grid, like multi-viewer view within Hub 360. Again, it's accessible through any web browser where you can see all of your video preview thumbnails for your sources and destinations. You can see real-time statistics, and it's been designed to be really, really easy to use. In fact, if we look at if we continue in the master control view, you can easily create a route by just dragging and dropping a source to the destination. It's that easy. So once you see all your live sources on one end, you see your destination. On the other end, destinations, by the way, will also have for different outputs for SDI, NDI, and other IP outputs. And you can create routes between one and the other very easily with Haivision Hub 360. Another thing that we've added to Haivision Hub 360 is, well, you can use it to manage multiple StreamHubs. So these StreamHubs can be on-prem, they can be in the cloud. And in fact, there are cases where you might need an additional StreamHub in the cloud for maybe a one-off event. And you can use Haivision Hub 360 to instantiate a temporary StreamHub in the cloud. And it's on a pay-as-you-go basis. So and it's available immediately. So this is a very, very powerful tool to give you that extra level of flexibility when you need it. So there are different, so in general, we've covered a bunch of products today, and we're making it as flexible as we can for you to use our products in terms of deployment. We talk about software, hardware, cloud. But there are also a number of ways you can use our products. You can, of course, purchase our products. You can also subscribe to them through the cloud. We also offering pay-as-you-go options as well. And rental is something else that we will also offer, both short-term and long-term rental. So Marcus, I was wondering if you could talk us through a little bit more about our rental program.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think it's important that everybody is aware, because some of these things are not, they haven't always been available as part of our Haivision offerings, so that we do have ways for you to get access to our products, especially for for when there are events that are happening of limited duration. So event-based rental is something that we've been offering for a while. And there are also options for people who are interested in longer term rentals. So whether you want to get something for, on a term that's a number of years, et cetera, instead of purchasing. So whatever your needs are, please reach out to your Haivision sales reps and partners, and we'll be happy to help you. And I just wanted to point out that rental is, of course, a very important topic when there are big events going on. If you are looking for any rental options, you can contact us easily through our website. You can go straight to the menu bar. There's also, you may have received emails about this, where you can let us know that you need some help very specifically in terms of short-term dates and things like that, and we will work to help get you going for those. So just to summarize, it's we've taken up almost an hour, and we're very grateful for all of you to have stayed with us throughout, but we're at the end now, and I just wanted to summarize. The great broadcast Start with Haivision really is a story about our contribution ecosystem and the tools that we use to help you get your content into your live production workflows, from the encoders and transmitters, obviously the Makitos, the Pros, et cetera, but also, as we showed you today, there are some new options that you may not have been aware of, like our mobile app Mojo Pro, and Live Guest. If you want to, for instance, use something as an alternative to Zoom or Skype, it's a very easy way to get content into your workflows. We have a number of different ways for you to procure this stuff with very flexible options. And the goal here, despite all of the different things that may be in people's mind, is to make sure that we're providing everybody with the best coverage of all these amazing events, and let our audiences experience these these very, very emotional and exciting moments. And I know for all of us, it's critical that this works. And so that's what we're here to talk about. So really, just like to thank you. I'm going to pull up this last poll just so that people have an option while we're answering some questions. If you are interested in having somebody from sales reach out to you, please let us know here. And if you're not, that's fine. It can happen later, but please let us know. So once again, thank you everybody for joining us today from all over the world. We appreciate you giving us this 1 hour of your time. We know how valuable it is. So thank you. And thank you to Mark and Ghislain for being here, and David and Selwyn in the background, and everybody for helping make the webinar come together. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great summer.